Today we are going to talk about what simple present is about. The name simple present describes itself quite well, because the sentence you say or write takes place in the present. We talked briefly what simple present is about. Now let's take a look at when you use simple present.
There's 3 different cases when you use simple present: repeated actions, facts and generalizations, scheduled events in the future. Now we're going to talk about repeated actions.
Repeated actions is something that happens regularly. It can be habits or routines.
Here are 4 examples. It snows every year, every morning I eat breakfast, she is late all the time, every night he brushes his teeth. There are keywords in these sentences that shows that these sentences are repeated actions. For example, every year, every morning, all the time, and every night. Let's move on to facts and generalizations. Facts and generalizations could be statements that are true in general or proven facts. Here are some examples. A cheetah is the fastest land animal. The water freezes when temperatures below 0 degrees. These 2 sentences are examples of proven facts. A feminist has hair in her armpits. Everyone who listens to metal worships the devil. These 2 sentences are examples of generalizations. Last but not least, scheduled events in the future. Scheduled events in the near future can be events that are scheduled later today, for example, tonight. And here are some examples. The train leaves at 9 p.m. tomorrow. My bus leaves every 10th minute after 6 o'clock. You can see that the verbs are still in present form, even if the sentences are about the future. And now we're going to present the simple present forms: regular verbs, irregular verbs, and modal verbs. Let's start with the regular verbs. For example, to smell. I smell good today. I do not smell good today. Do I smell good today? Your perfume smells good. Your perfume does not smell good. Does your perfume smell good? You can see that it's only in the third person positive form where you add an S on the verb. Otherwise, it's all the same. The big difference is between the negative and the question form in first, second, and third person. It's the do that changes. In the first person, you use do in both negative and question form, and in the third person, you use does in both the negative and question form. If the verb instead ends on a sh or s sound, you'd conjugate it differently. It looks like this. I always wash my hands before dinner. I do not wash my hands before dinner. Do I wash my hands before dinner? He always washes his hands before dinner. He does not wash his hands before dinner. Does he wash his hands before dinner? Here you can also see that it's the third person positive form that changes. You put an es on the end of the verb. Otherwise, it's all the same. Here, the big difference is also the do in the negative and question form. In first person, you use do, and in the third person, you use does in both negative and question forms. Irregular verbs does not follow the rules, and here are 2 examples. One example is to have. In first person form, it looks like this: I have a brown cat. The second person form is the same: you have a brown cat, but in the third person form, the verb changes: he has a brown cat. Instead of following the rules and write haves, you write has instead. The next example is to be. In first person form, it looks like this: I am happy today. In second person form, it looks like this: you are happy today. In the third person form, it looks like this: he is happy today. As you can see, the verb looks different between all the 3 person forms. In the first person, you write am instead of be. In second person, you write are instead of be. And in the third person, you write is instead of bees. Modal verbs, for example can, is a verb that looks the same between first, second and third person form. You can see here by the examples I, you, she can draw an apple. I, you, she can not draw an apple. Can I, you, she draw an apple?